Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. Today we have Vivek Mehta with us, who will be talking about the role of mentorship in an entrepreneurial journey. Welcome Vivek.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
It's pleasure. So today we are going to talk about the importance of mentorship, right, in
Sure,
one's journey. So before we go into that, can you tell me more about yourself and what you do so that the viewers can know?
sure. Uh, so I work at Clay, where I am a partner and a senior strategist. Clay is a consulting firm in the space of brand and design. We work across sectors, across the region, so to create a brand which makes an impact both to the world and the business.
That's brilliant. So again, so going in further into the topic, how important do you think it is to have a mentor in one's journey, be it entrepreneurship or anybody in particular?
So I believe that mentor is an additional input or a support you have in your life. There are few obvious benefits that there's an additional intellectual power. Somebody can help you remove myopia, which I enjoy personally doing.
What is my opinion?
So myopia is where you don't see a bigger picture, where you're so stuck. So, or maybe you are missing out on a bigger picture or bigger opportunity. So sometimes it's like removing the flap from your eyes and telling you, have you thought about this? Secondly, it's also somebody with an experience from different industries and different regions where you might say, I saw this in a particular area, or how about that? Imagine this is like a capsule and an essential supplement you need for your business, which can do wonders. Um, I'm not saying that if you don't have a mentor, you will not be successful, but it's an additional resource you have. And I have been doing it for last 5 years in the region, and I feel that it is essential. It plays a big role, but here in the region we still have to define the role of mentors because there are too many of us. It's a loosely used term.
Yeah, everyone's a coach here.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So even successful people still have mentors. Like anybody, even in the media industry, be it in the business industry, even the most successful people have mentors. So when it comes to that, which area is your expertise in terms of mentoring?
So let's break it down into two, right? Individuals and the businesses. For individuals, I think I am somebody they can pick up the phone and discuss any issue they would like to. It can be as simple as it's been 10 days, I have not been able to make a single booking, or I am struggling to work with my team. So there are a lot of human related issues. At business level, um, I enjoy, let's say, growth through diversification. I enjoy optimization by managing costs. Because I think if there's one big takeaway through this whole chat is for any startup out there, please keep a strong control on your costs because you're too optimistic about how the revenue would come in and you forget about the other side of the equation. In terms of what I bring to the table, to put it simply, which is industry agnostic, is logic, business acumen, and creativity. I feel if you have this triangle, solid triangle, you can create a strong business out of it. And this is what I always say, I use common sense, I use the basics of business principle. I believe in customer centric businesses more than product centric businesses.
Okay, very good. So when you say about validating an idea and discussing with them, opening the flaps, so how easy or difficult it is to in terms of getting them to see the bigger picture? Like, could you take us through the process of how you do it with each one?
Sure. So, as a thumb rule, I never kill an idea. If you come to me, My reaction is, why not? How do I build on your idea? I might steer you in a direction which might be more meaningful, but not to dismiss your idea. For instance, I always tell people about removing the flap. If you are a cinema owner, start thinking that you are not a cinema owner, you're in the field of entertainment, which just gives you a bigger horizon to play in. Now, in terms of validation of business idea, it's very essential for me to understand what problem are you solving. Uh, One of the key guys in Sequoia Capital has a principle which I have learned from. If you can articulate the whole business in less than 20 words, it's a big sign for me, because A, it shows you have thought through it. B, anybody will be able to understand it. Because if it's in your head, it is very essential to put it out there in a very simple way, so that your internal team, your customers, your investors all can understand. Now, with respect to validation, it depends what stage the idea is in. Is it in the seed stage? Is it just an idea in a brain? They have a minimal viable product, how to go to market? It all depends on that. But the whole point is, I try to break down in next stage, and I feel that is it ready for the next stage? And secondly, what do we need to pivot? Today, if somebody comes to me and if they ask, is it a $1 billion idea? I would say A, that's a wrong question to start with, and B, there's no science to validate that.
So when you say there are different stages, right? So there are people who have an idea but have trouble expressing that. So have you experienced something like that? Like someone has an idea but they were not able to articulate in those 20 words, and they themselves seem very vague about the idea, but it could
So
be potential.
I've had chat with people who would say, I want to open a cafeteria, because, and it's like, fine, it's too high as a concept, and it's too short also, right? By 20 words, I don't want to say just I want to open a cafeteria, right? You have to specify more. I have met a lot of startup guys who say, I feel I need to do this, but I think there's an issue that people have a rat race. Everybody wants to have an e-commerce website. Everybody wants to have a fashion store, but there's so much of business opportunity which you can do based on technology and basic human needs. And if that's the case, because also other thing is, people don't do enough homework to validate or express this idea. So I would suggest that people should write down the idea. Simple trick, write it down 5 to 7 times, and then you'll realize that while writing, do you have enough information? Are you missing out on anything?
Okay, that's nice. So again, when someone comes to you, what for anybody listening to this, so what are the key points someone should bear in mind when they decide to start their own venture?
Uh, First rule I would say is, at least have 5 ways of making money from that idea. One of them would be a horse, other four might not even work. The reason I say five or more is because it pushes you and validates, because you don't know that what you're missing out on. Second thing is, what's one thing that will remain constant? Technology will keep on changing. Um, Customers be loyal, will not loyal, but your core problem which you will be solving should last for a couple of years. That's a constant problem you're solving. And third thing is, at personal level, I always say, have a team, have a co-founder, because we don't exist in isolation. If you have an I mindset, I rather suggest you work in a research lab than a startup. Have 2 to 3 people, and believe in what you're doing, and always do a test that how much you believe in this idea. Would I ask my brother to follow the same idea, or would I ask my son or daughter to follow the same idea?
So it's more of the purpose than the financial gains.
Also, the problem you are solving, right? See, some things can give you money immediately, some things can give money later, See, money is a key part. You're doing it for commercial reason, but don't start a company where you think that you will become a billionaire or you become a millionaire, because that might or might not happen. And the bigger problem with that, it's a wrong yardstick to have. You need to figure out at how many customers I'm serving, right? And once you have a good base of customers, how much can I sell them more, right? So it's all about growing through scale. I always said a good business is scale, managing your scale and cost, and everything else will be taken care of.
That's a very insightful answer. How do people usually reach out to you?
So initially, I went to startup hubs. Now, fortunately, they approached me. So I've been doing it for the last 5 years. I'm registered with Shera Impact Hub. I've gone as far as being registered with the accelerator in Romania, Spheric Accelerator. And I'm right now working with few startups to start a boot camp. So people find me on LinkedIn. People, if they're happy, they come back to me for the next cohort. And it's a very human relationship. On an average, my mentoring relationship lasts for 2 to 3 years. So I don't say, it's for 3 months, go away. I work in a very specific way. I dedicate specific number of hours to every startup every week. So I know I cannot take on much more than I can handle. So yeah.
So again, when it comes to the sector of business, which sector of business is your favorite in terms of mentoring?
Well, as I said, right, I enjoy helping businesses grow. But if you ask me very specific sectors, I would say that because of my experience professionally, I would say there are four sectors: mobility, healthcare, finance, and e-commerce. Those are the four sectors I would say I can help somebody and I can add value.
Okay. So you also mentioned that as mentors, you see a lot of faults of what is happening in the mentee's business. So how do you ensure that there's not any conflict, especially when you start the mentor-mentee relationship?
So look, the first conversation is you have to look at it from two ways, right? You're almost like a doctor of the business. They would share everything, and then you need to agree and decide with them that which is a bigger issue and what needs to be resolved, and what issues the business can live with. Because if somebody goes to a doctor and he says, even I have an acne on a face, but my nose is blocked, I'm sure you want to fix the nose first, then the acne, right? Also, my first initial few meetings are to help them prioritize whether it's about setting up the team, setting up the product, what's the experience, what's missing. And if I show them a fault, I also try to them to give a solution. That is how I manage the relationship. And also, I am pretty direct, so I will not mince my words. But again, it's an objective conversation. It's about, let's talk about this because business wants to get there. If any mentor can put things into the context and he can say this is the right observation, and it's fine.
That's fine. So again, that was very insightful. So did you have any conflict in this 5 years with any of your mentees?
Luckily, no. But each mentor-mentee relationship has been unique. Um some have become good friends. Some have still remained a very formal relationship. But for me, it was all fun. And yeah, if the relationship was not that great, the length did not go beyond a year.
Okay. So talking about all your relationships, which is your most favorite memory of mentoring someone? Could you like share an interesting conversation or a business idea?
Um so, a couple of days back, I was sitting with a fintech startup, and they are making money. They're 2 years into business, but they had a blind spot because they were not able to tell the story, and they were saying, we are struggling to tell the world who we are. And I said, like, let me make an attempt, and I just wrote 4 words. And they said that this has been a favorite eureka moment the last 2 years. This just gives me enough confidence that people are willing to listen to you. And then they say, what, can you help us drill it through the whole organization. So that is one of the favorite moment. Second is I have been asked to go for a pitch meeting with a mentee. Like, can you please come? And I've been just there as a support, somebody who can give them confidence. And while VCs are grilling them, I can help them to answer a few questions. I tend to become a part of the team and not stay as an outsider. Yes, you start as an outsider, but by the time it's a couple of weeks, you become an insider.
So again, talking about mentor-mentee relationship, it's a two-way process. So what were your learnings in these 5 years?
I salute people who have left the comfort of their jobs and have started to do something or a source of income. But my biggest reason for doing this is inspiration and energy. You can summarize really, really well what a mentor mentee relationship is, that somebody is trusting you for their growth, and that's a big responsibility you have, and it's not an easy one to manage.
Do you have any mentors right now, and what areas do they help you right now and in the past?
So I would say there's a particular gentleman, Paul Tozer, who I used to work in London with. He's a very senior guy in technology and investment banking. And the way he helped me grow is phenomenal. And he's taught me so much indirectly. And this is one person whom I still message. I don't work with him. It's been 5 years since I worked with him directly. I still message him. I ask him. And the reassurance I get from him or the ideas are still worth it.
So you still have just one mentor.
Yes, I mean, I go to for specific needs, but yeah, there's one mentor I have who I can reach out for anything, personal or professional.
So you being a mentor for the last 5 years, how did you work on yourself? How did you find that you needed guidance in certain areas?
So, I was one of those guys who would always try to know everything before I take the next step, and that is a weakness I had. So now I'm getting a bit comfortable with the area of unknown. Secondly, I have now started to prioritize progress over perfection. As long as I'm making progress in the right direction, I'm fine, because perfection is an infinite goal. And I always tell people that perfection is never achievable. There'll be something 0.001% also left. So there are two things: progress over perfection and comfort with the unknown.
So you constantly work on yourself even now.
I have to. I'm still young. I'm 32. I've not seen the world. Uh, yes, I'm a millennial, but I know my areas of weaknesses. I know what I need to do. I'm open about it. The nice thing about mentoring is that your listening skills really improve. So even if somebody has to tell me, I would listen.
What is that one thing that you're working on right now?
Health, honestly, I've worked for last 10 years, and one thing which I ignore the most is my health. And guys, trust me, the second thing I would leave you with is your body, your and mind are the two resources which you will need the most, irrespective of whatever you're doing.
So what is it that drives you? Like you've been doing this for 5 years, and obviously there's no financial gain out of it. It's just purely helping people. So what is that one thing that keeps driving you to mentor these people?
A sense of contribution drives me the most. Even if, because of my conversation, even if a startup gets an additional customer or an additional dollar of revenue, it's just the validation that it's worth. Secondly, you learn so much subconsciously, indirectly, that you can put that back into day-to-day work. And thirdly, the energy which you get. I've had sessions which have gone for 5 hours back to back, no water, no food, and you just get surprised, where did I get so much energy? So if you like it, everything falls in the right direction.
So that's true. So we've almost reached to the end. So this is going to be my last question. I always ask this to all my guests. If we were to meet exactly in 1 year from now, what is that one thing that you should have achieved to make yourself feel successful?
Um, I should have at least mentored three not-for-profit startup. I am already working with one. Hopefully, I should be able to have two more.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.